Okay, I've taken the Sandbox Smart Roaster apart. The back, actually, the cover slides off in one piece, but you do have certain screws to remove. You don't have to remove all these, but you do have to remove that one, which attaches it into the back there. Also, on the bottom, you turn it upside down, and there's a couple of screws have to come out there and there. And then on the body of the roaster itself, there's 4 screws, which are these 4 that hold the shell on. And then the shell just slides back and slides off the roaster. When it does, you can have a look around the roaster here. Here's the control board, which is fine. Here are the various fans that turn on and off at different times to serve different functions. The air inlet in the roaster, you can just see there, and then this fan runs the flow of air across all the circuitry and out the other side. That keeps the circuitry cool. And then this fan here is a Squirrel Cage Fan, and that draws air through the duct system here, and there are holes in the top right of the chamber that feed into this ducting, and it's a pulled air, so it pulls the air. The fan pulls the air through the roaster, through that vent and out here. And this is where all the smoke comes out of. And of course the chaff and any dirt. And if we look at the top of the case, you can see in the top of the case there, the stain, because that vent is just near the fan here. So I'm going to give that case a wipe to give it a little clean inside. Now I've got it open. Now this duct and this fan are 2 areas that periodically you're probably going to want to clean. It's not going to take very long. Take a few minutes to slide the case off. And then this fan can be easily replaced as well, obviously, should it ever go wrong. But to clean it, I would actually brush all the vanes and turn the fan a bit with my finger and brush these vanes down with a little brush, get all the fluff off them, stick a vacuum cleaner in, give it a bit of a suck out. Then what I'd do as well is I'd remove this cover. Now and this is very important on this cover. There, let's stand back so you can see it. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. There's one here on that plate. So let's do them again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we come round here, a 5th screw. When you undo those screws, this just lifts off. Now they might be on a bit tight from the factory initially. Don't put them on as tight yourself. And I only use a small screwdriver because it limits the amount of torque you can apply to screws. A little tiny thing I use. I've had it for years. It's one of these cheap £3 kits. And try and get a good fit on your screws so you don't chew them up. Then this lifts off. Clean inside it, obviously, because it'll get a bit grubby. Let's give it a wipe out. It's just staining there. I'll put that down. Now here is the holes that are at the top right of the chamber. When you look inside the roasting chamber, the air comes across here, down here, sucked in by the fan, and then blown out the vents. Now because this fan pulls air, it doesn't matter that the ducting doesn't have any specific sealing or anything, because it's always pulling air, so nothing's going to leak out into the roaster to sort of muck that up. And you can also give the fan a brush and a bit of clean and a vacuum from in here as well. Now the important thing, and I'm going to give this a wipe down before I put it back, but an important thing here is when you put this back, it's got to be put back correctly, and that is with this piece, because you might put it back like that. Sorry, you might put it back like that thinking that hole is for one of the screws you took out. It's not. That hole's just there probably from an earlier design. Maybe they put the holes in then realised they didn't need it. It fits like this. And I'll just look, I have to look above the camera there. This plate is on the top. This edge is over the lip. This edge is behind that piece. Yep. So it's fitted. So you can get a screw here, 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 and here. If you can see a hole there, then you've not fitted it properly. It needs to be over a bit. And there's no screws anywhere else, okay? So I'm not going to fit that back yet because obviously I want to give it a wipe down. Now I've got it open, I might as well give it a quick clean and a wipe. And all I'm going to use is a damp cloth and a little bit of detergent. If it's really dirty, you can get a vacuum cleaner if there's any fluff built up. What's quite good is the chamber is quite large. So the holes are probably going to block, but you can get a vacuum cleaner nozzle and suck. If I was going to clean this, I'd poke a vacuum cleaner inside carefully with a brush end and try and brush and suck. Because if you just brush the holes inside the drum, you're going to brush bits into this ducting and it'll eventually get to the fan. The fan itself, probably better to lift the ducting and get a brush both sides and give it a bit of a vacuum or a blowout. You know, that'll puff it out if you've got an air blower or something like that. It's very easy to get to. I don't know how often it would have to be done. I would say after using it for 6 months, if you use it a lot, definitely open it up, give it a check. Even if you slide the case off, have a look. Does it look dirty? Give it a clean. Here's the motor transformer, because it's obviously a low voltage board. Now the motor is good. It looks easy to replace. Doesn't look very difficult. It's one of those off-center eccentric geared motors, so that's great. And in fact, there's nothing in the roaster, if I'm honest, that looks very difficult to replace. To me, all of it looks extremely easy to work on, which is great, because if you do need any servicing or anything like that, obviously it's something that if you feel comfortable doing it, you can probably have a go yourself. Or obviously it's easy for the retailer to service. And here are the terminals here for your heating elements. Yeah. Yeah, that's great. There's your LED. Here's your LED light strip, which again looks very easy to replace. And all the componentry, as is typical with the stuff made in Taiwan, is all Mod U2 plugs or computer style plugs that just plug straight into the main circuit board, and the component fits with a few screws. So yeah, that's absolutely great. I was hoping it would be really simple inside, and it is. And I'm trying to think that is possibly a self-resetting overheat sensor that'll cut the roaster out if it gets too hot. That's what I suspect that is. But yeah, all pretty simple. The thing I'm trying to figure out fully is what this fan does. And this fan looks like it's run to exhaust air, because it's obviously blowing that way from around the roaster. So I'm not sure how that runs. It's probably programmed to run during the cool down cycle. But yeah, very, very easy. Very easy to take apart. Literally took a few minutes. So I'm going to pop it back together. I'm just going to grab the tripod so you could just see. Well, actually, I probably don't need it. I'll show you what I need to do. To pop it back together, I need to take this. This is the back piece. Hang on. This is the back piece. And I'm just going to slide it over the roaster. So I'm just going to do that. And I'll pause the video cleaning it. I'm just going to clean it. And all I've got here is a damp cloth, because obviously it's not very dirty. It hasn't been hardly used yet. Only testing. What I'm going to do, and rub gently, because obviously it's not supported here, so you don't want to push loads of pressure on. And in fact, when you put the screws on, support this underneath as you gently bear down on the screw to tighten it. So I'm just going to give it a bit of a wipe. Now, what I'm not looking to do, necessarily get all the staining off. I don't really care, because it's going to get stained, and if you sit there and try and make it look brand new like steel again, there's no point. That's not my objective. What I'm trying to do is any deposit that's on here, any build-up, it looks like flock wallpaper, coffee roasting stuff when it builds up. And that's what I'm trying to get off. The fact that the metal's stained, I don't care. I'm not going to sit there with abrasive or heavy cleaners trying to get that off. The air can still flow over it. That can go as dark as it likes. I really don't care. It's any build-up that gets it, like some flock paper build-up. And then I'm just going to give this a wipe. So I'll turn this down. Let's have this here. Where is it? There it is. As you can see, the staining area. So again, all I'm going to do, hold the camera in there, just going to give it a wipe. Now you might say, oh well, let's get all that staining off. And again, I'm not interested. You could put a bit of washing up liquid if you want. I just don't want that sort of flock wallpaper build-up. So that's all I'm trying to get off. But if you want to use a bit of washing up liquid, go ahead. You're never going to see it. So now I'm going to put the lid on to this duct, which is here. And I'm going to put the screws in. Now, when you're putting this screw in, put the other hand underneath here and just give it some support. This ducting, you don't want it bending down because it's attached by a screw here and here, and you don't want to be bearing down with a lot of pressure on it without some support underneath. So I'm going to have to stop the camera while I screw that on because I'll need both hands. Okay, I've screwed them on, but what I've done, I haven't screwed them in all the way. Can you see? There's a little gap. I don't screw them down all the way because you need the thing to be able to float slightly. If you're old as me and you come from a day when British manufacturing wasn't very accurate, by putting them in loosely you were more likely to be able to get them all in and drift it into place. This is cut very accurately, so that's not been a problem. And all I'm going to do is tweak them down now, and I'm just going to use a couple of fingers, tweak them down. Don't do it terrifically hard. They do it so hard in the factory, and I don't know what they're worried about. If it comes loose, you can always remove the cover and do them up, but I don't think they are. And here's that last screw here, which I'll just, it's hard holding the camera and doing it. Couple of fingers and do it. Now I haven't pressed down hard on this, so I need to do this up a little bit more. I'll have to turn the camera up while I just support this underneath to do it up and support the roaster to do that one up properly. Right, so I put the back cover on, and it just slides on from the back, a little tweaking. I put the back plate on, and now I get the cover to the front of the roaster, and there's a couple of nibs there that need to go over these front bits, so I need to get those over and ensure that the sides are correctly engaged. So I'm going to pause the video where I do that, and the way to do it is to get your nails just under here and lift gently, and then push on the front of the roaster and use your stomach to push the back towards the front. Now I need two hands because I need to hold the roaster there, so I have to put the camera down again.